Hello, and welcome to the Engineering Data Training video. Let's navigate to a new area and explore some of the engineering data. I'm going to use my Change Scale and Location button and move to a different location. I'm going to go to 6523 west of 5 at a screen scale of 150,000. So here we can see our live map view in the new location. The first engineering layer I'd like to talk about is the facilities layer. In the layer legend, we can see the drop-down menu for the facilities parent level. Here you can see there are many different sublayers for the facilities layer. Because of this, if you turn the facilities on at the parent level, it may clutter up your map significantly. So it is recommended that you only turn on the facilities that you are interested in, such as the gas processing plant. If we highlight the gas processing plant sublayer, we're able to change the layer properties. I'm going to change it from a green to a yellow color. Also going to increase the size from 11 up to 15. Click Apply for the changes to take effect. And then we need to select the visibility checkbox to add it to our map. Now we can see the location of all of the gas processing plants in our map. The next engineering layer I'd like to discuss is the pipelines layer. So I'm going to first collapse all of my layers to their parent level and then highlight the pipelines layer. So as you can see, there's a drop down to view the sublayers for the pipeline's parent level. If I click on that arrow, we can see all of the different pipeline types. I'm going to turn the pipelines on at the parent level. Now, all of the pipelines have been added to our detailed map. Now we're able to change a number of attributes for our pipelines layer. First of which is the color. As you can see here, it is mixed, indicating that each of the sublayers have different colors. We can also change the thickness and the style. Click on Apply to have these changes take effect. Another option for the pipelines layer is to view the pipelines by their status type. If we click at the top drop-down menu at the parent level, we can view them by status. Click on Apply, and now you can see each of the sublayers are now able to be further divided into their status type. On our map, we can see different line styles indicating the different statuses. For abandoned lines, we have a dash dot. For discontinued, it's a dash dot dot. Operating are a solid filled line, and to be constructed are dashed lines. The last option we have for our pipelines layer is the option to view an enhanced pipelines database. The Enhanced Pipeline Database is available to view the post-construction location of the pipelines provided by GDM. The standard pipeline database is the pre-construction AER data. To demonstrate the differences, I'm going to zoom in to a specific area. I'm going to use my Change Scale and Location button and go to a specific lat and long. I'm going to go to 54.625 and negative 117.465 at a zoomed in screen scale of 7,000. Here you can see our new location zoomed in to a gas plant facility. To further emphasize the differences between the standard and the enhanced pipelines, we can turn our air photo layer on. At the top of our layer legend, we have our air photo layer. Turn on the visibility checkbox to add it to our map. The air photo queries the Voltus imagery services and adds the best ortho photograph for that area. So So now we can see an orthophotograph of this area as well as the standard database of our pipelines. If we return to the parent level of our pipelines, we can now add our enhanced pipeline graphic. Before I turn on the enhanced pipelines, I'd like to point out a number of things that will change. First off, you'll see a disconnect between the pipeline in the northwest corner and the well it's attached to. Some of the pipelines are not lined up with their right-of-way. Additionally, you'll see a number of the other pipelines change their graphic to their post-construction location. I'll now turn on the enhanced pipelines to demonstrate this. Click on Apply for this effect to take place. As you can see, a number of pipelines have changed their location to represent the post-construction location. Now going to return back to my previous view. The last layer I'd like to discuss with you pertaining to our engineering data is our IHS open layers. We can expand this layer to see the sublayers. Here we can see a number of layers representing new activity. Under this layer, we're able to visually represent any locations that have a facility approval, a pipeline approval, or future pipeline construction. Let's add all three of these to our map. In this current map screen, there are a number of facility approvals, as well as pipeline approvals, as well as a couple of pipeline constructions. If we open up the data card for any of these IHS open layers, we have access to the new activity spreadsheet. Under the Data tab, we have our Inspect mode. If we turn on the Inspect mode for any of our IHS open layers, we can access that data card. If I click on a pipeline approval symbol, we'll open up the data card for that event. Here we can see the pipeline approval data card for record 661. At the top we have access to the pipeline approval and disposition spreadsheet. If we click on that, it will download a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet showing us all of the new activity. Here we have our AccuMap daily pipeline approval and disposition Excel spreadsheet. You're able to sort using any of the column headings. You can sort by substance, company name, approval date, etc. Our Inspect tool can also open up our facility and pipeline data cards. Turn on the Inspect mode for both of these layers. I can now inspect on facilities and pipelines as well as the open layers I have the Inspect mode turned on for. As I move my cursor about, you can see the different items get highlighted, as well as a tooltip describing some information about those items. If I want to toggle through multiple events I'm currently hovering over, I can simply use my spacebar. You can also use our Inspect mode to open up any of the items that we're currently inspecting on. As you can see, it opened up the data cards for all 9 of the items I was currently hovering over. For our facility data cards, there's a specific data card for each type of facility. Here we can see a number of different facility types. Our gas gathering system, where we have a header tab, battery, where we have a summary production tab, as well as a production graph. We also have a gas processing data card, where we see summary information, receipts and disposition, as well as a summary graph. For our average daily throughput, we're able to customize this chart. We can customize the years that we see the data for, as well as select which columns of data are visible. If we select the Select Columns button, we can add or remove any items from our Visible Columns window. If we select an item and click on the left arrow, it will remove that item. can also select multiple using our Shift and Control keys and remove them, or we can use our double left arrow and clear the visible columns window. We can then go and select any of the available columns to add to our visible columns window. If I'm only interested in the shrinkage, raw gas, sales gas, and NGL total, I can add those to my visible columns. Click on OK to confirm those changes. Now you can see my customized chart. If I right click on this chart, I can copy it to a clipboard, or I can send this information to an Excel spreadsheet. Here you can see that information exported into an Excel spreadsheet. Our Graph tab, we're able to customize the template. If we select on Manage Templates, we can create one from our system template. Here we can change any of our grid lines, our axes, as well as our series. If we click on Select Series, we have a familiar looking window where we can select what items we want to be visible on our graph. Click on the double left arrow to clear the visible series list, and we can go in and select which series we want to see on our graph. I'm going to select raw gas, sales gas, and shrinkage. Single right arrow to add that to our list. Click on OK to confirm your changes. You can then go in and change the attributes of our different series. Raw gas has a red color, sales gas has a pink, and shrinkage has a green. You can click on Save and Close to save this as a new template. I'm going to call this my engineering template. We can now select our newly created template from the drop-down menu. Now that we've inspected a number of our different engineering layers, let's move on and query some of this engineering data. I'm going to collapse all of my layers, turn off my facility layers, and my IHS open layers. To access the query tool, we simply go to the Data tab and click on the Query button. This opens up our query window. Your first task is to select which category you'd like to perform your query on. From the Find All drop-down menu, you can select any of the layers. Today I will use the pipelines layer for my first example. Next, I need to decide which region I want to perform my query on. I can query against a previously saved list, a map annotation, or my map screen. Today I will use my map screen as the region for my query. Next, I need to decide what specific information I want to find. Today I'm interested in seeing all of the pipelines in my map screen area that belong to Canadian Natural Resources. Under Location and Status, I can find the data field licensee. I have two different operators, either equal to or not equal to, and then I can use the search window to find the specific company I am looking for. I'm going to type in Canadian Natural Resources. Here you can see a list of the different company names and codes that coincide with Canadian Natural Resources. I'm going to add all of them. And then click on Add to add that as my next query term. Now I'm going to run this query. Here you can see that AccuMap has found 331 of the 1,046 pipelines belong to Canadian Natural Resources. I can then go in and set my map symbol to determine how these results are going to be shown on my map. I can change the color. Today I'll change it to a purple color, the thickness, and the style. I then have a number of options. The first item will show my query results on my map. Here we can see the location of all of the Canadian natural resource pipelines on my map. I go back to my query. I also have the option to save these results to a list and attach it to my map. I'm going to call these my CNRL pipelines. Save it to my directory. And now you can see that this list has been added to my layer legend, as well as been attached to my map. Let's perform another query. I'm going to open up my query tool again. This time I'm going to query the facilities category. From the drop-down menu under Find All, I'm going to select Facilities. You will note that it automatically clears your query terms for you when you change categories. I'm going to use my same region. Now I'm going to find all of the Canadian natural resource facilities in this area. Under License Data, we have the data field Licensee. Here we can do the same procedure and find Canadian natural resources. Select all of these company names and add that as my query term. I'll then run this query. Here you can see that 78 of the 430 facilities in my map screen belong to Canadian natural resources. I'm going to keep my map symbol as red and save this to a list and attach. I'm going to call this my CNRL facilities. Okay, save it to my directory. Now you can see all of the different facilities, their corresponding symbol, and the list has been attached to my layer legend. Now that we've created a couple of lists using our query tool, let's learn how to work with these lists. The first item in working with our lists is changing the draw order. Our fourth tool in our layer legend is the Order by Draw Order button. Here we can see all of the different layers in their draw order. If we scroll down, we can see our newly created pipeline list and facility list. If we wish, we can simply click and drag to change their draw order. Now you can see the facilities are now underneath our CNRL pipelines. I can click and drag to return them to their previous draw order. If we click on the third tool in the layer legend, we can order our layers back in the alphabetical order. Additionally, if we right-click on a list in our layer legend, we can simply detach that list. From the List tab, we have a number of tools that we can use to work with our list. The first of which is the Attach to Map button. Here we can attach any lists that are saved into our working directory. For instance, I can re-add my CNRL facilities list. Click on Attach to attach it to the map. Another tool we have is the Update button. If any of our lists are out of date, we can simply update the information in those lists using three different options. We can have AccuMap rerun the query that was used to create that list. We can just update the items in that list, or we can do both. Rerun the query. If there was no query used to update that list, then we can just update the items in that list. You can tell if a list is out of date by the database date being in a red font, as well as the up to date with database will have an N for no. A couple of our previously created well lists demonstrate this. Under our List tab, we also have the option to print a list or open up in a data card. Let's move on to exporting our pipeline and facility data. Under the Data tab, we have our Export Manager. Here we have our export manager. We're able to export our data in a number of different formats, first of which is an Excel format. The first step is to select which category we'd like to export. Let's export our facility data. Second step is to select a list. I'll select our recently created CNRL facility list. Our third step is to select a template of the information you'd wish to export. I'm going to use our system facility template. The fourth step is some formatting options. Our last step is to select the units we'd like to export in. I'm going to use metric units and my production units as imperial. We can also select what datum we'd like to export this data in. Click on Export to export this information to an Excel spreadsheet. Here we have our CNRL facilities data exported to an Excel spreadsheet. We're able to sort by any of the column headings, such as our subtype, license number, province, state, location, and operational status. We also have the option to create a custom template if we click on the Editor button. We see a familiar window for choosing which headings we'd like to export. I'm going to click on the Clear button and create a new template from scratch. I'm going to add some header information, such as the license number, the type, facility name, and the operational status. Also add some licensee information, such as the name, province, and city. And all of the gas plant details. I'm going to select gas plant details at the parent level and add all of these subcategories. I can then go in and create a new name for my new template. Click on Save, and we'll add a user dash to the beginning of my new template. I can now select my customized template from my list of templates. This time I will disable my spreadsheet formatting. Click on Export. Here we can see our CNRL facility list exported in a blankly formatted Excel spreadsheet with the custom column headings that we chose. That concludes our AccuMap engineering data training video. Thank you very much for listening.